Let's go to the other storyline of the weekend, and again, it is the Carlton Football Club. Difficult times for everyone at Carlton, there's no question about that, but when you get hammered by the arch rival in the manner that Collingwood fixed them up on the weekend, there's not much room to move.
It's been the sum of all fears from a Carlton perspective. No mercy on a wounded foe from these Magpies. A 14th win for the season for Collingwood.
If you're a Carlton fan, you're thinking, I'm not sure that Michael Voss has the answers. I'm not sure that Michael Voss has any way out of this.
The thing watching Carlton, especially over the last 3 weeks, I don't see any light at the end of the tunnel.
It's simply not good enough. We put that on us players and we take full responsibility of that.
They are what they are, though, and they are a horrible, kicking football side. Horrible.
Over a period of time, you've created talented players who feel entitled at that football club, and they haven't been able to get to a point where they work hard enough when the game isn't going their way to find a way through it.
I think it'd be surprising if he coaches beyond this year, but who knows?
We let our club down tonight. We want our supporters to be proud of us, and we didn't do that tonight. There's an expectation on the way we want to be able to play, and we didn't do that tonight. We'll have to cop our whack. Well, we have to cop it, because we can't tolerate that. That was a really poor performance.
The end of the season can't come quick enough for this football side.
There's a bit of Groundhog Day about this, so not wanting to go back over old territory. For people at home, you took over the interim CEO role at the Hawthorn Football. And this is not me having a joke. This is dead serious. At the end of the 04 season, at the time when they were struggling as well, you appointed Alistair Clarkson amongst a whole raft of other changes. And this is on the record, set them up for the unbelievable and very successful period they had. So you're perfectly suited. So I've got 4 questions for you, and if you can be as serious as you can be, what do you need to see in the final 7 weeks from a Carlton point of view?
Well, let's park the coach for the moment. We know there's going to be decisions made down the track. I want to see some player effort. I mean, the fate of their season was sealed long ago in 2025, so they're not going to be playing finals. But I need to see some player effort, and there's players that should be playing for their careers.
Did you not see player effort on the weekend?
At different stages, I did. But there's recent weeks where I've doubted the player effort, and some of that isn't deliberately saying I'm not trying, it's the pressure. Everything, the outside world's caving in on them, and it kind of gets you down, and you just go into your own little bubble, and maybe you don't try as hard or work as hard as you perhaps could. I want to see some player effort, because some of these players must be playing for their careers, and they will have decisions made upon them, like the coach and others will.
How do you measure it? How do you measure it? Just by eye, or what is there, some measurements?
I would prefer to use my eye.
Right.
So I think you can look at most games and you can look at the form of players, particularly those that you have under the microscope, and you can say, well, right, can he fight when the chips are down? When the heat's on, when things aren't going right, is he one that we want in this jumper that's going to help dig us out of a hole?
Your eye would tell you that last 3 weeks have been deplorable.
Yep.
So let's see what happens here. How much is on... It's a second question for you. How much on the coach? How much on the players?
It's got to be shared. It's got to be shared, but it's the coach, no doubt. Is he getting the best out of the players? The players we've just spoken about. But I also think you've got to sit there and say, have we got the right assessment of what this list looks like? Have we got enough quality on our list for the coach to do what he needs to do? And I think that has a question mark over it as well.
Is he coaching to the list and what they're capable of, or should he be coaching to what successful teams look like?
That's a really difficult one, because you want to get the best out of your players, and sometimes that's not necessarily playing the way that you think premiership football should be played. But maybe it's time to start playing that way and weed out the ones that can't play. The ones that can't play to the way that you need them to play.
Yep.
So there's a fine line between getting the best out of players and then demanding that they fit into the system that you think is the one that will take you forward.
Third question. There was a stage there halfway through, or for most of that third quarter, we were sitting there doing the game thinking this could be 100 points plus.
Yep.
And I think most of us have arrived at the conclusion that there won't be a move on the coach until maybe the end of the year.
Yep.
Hopefully for Vossi's sake not. Could one disastrous blowout loss change that?
No, I don't think so. No, I think with Graham Wright coming in now, he will sit there, take all of this in. He will be armed with all the relevant information. They'll get to the end of the season and he'll go, right, bang, in every department, in the coaching department, in the playing department, in the recruiting department,
Which you
in
did.
the management department. They will go through each line and they'll go, what do we need to do? What do we need to change? And they'll go, bang.
Which is the first appointment. When you do your review, as you did, as I said, at the end of the time before you appointed Clarko, what's the first appointment? Is it the coach? Is it the...
We did the coach first.
Right.
But I'm not saying it's a hard and fast rule, but I think everything tends to then fall
Do you have
into
the footy
place
manager
around
in
that.
place then?
No.
And then got the footy manager.
Then we got the footy manager after that.
Right, last one. How much of the outside noise do you listen to?
None.
And how do you... Okay,
None.
I knew that had been the answer. So how do you block it?
You've got to block it out. You need to talk to your key stakeholders. You need to keep them informed of the processes you're putting in place and what you're going to do without giving away inside information. But you can't try to appease the supporters. And I don't say that in a nasty way, but there's too much emotion involved. They will be appeased if and when you make the right decisions, because they will see that starting to turn around. You've just got to get those decisions right, and that's the challenge for Graham Wright and company come the end of the season.
Last one. Is he coaching next year, Michael Voss?
I hope so. I hope so.